Good, good, good. Let's see, I just got a little message it's being live streamed. Let me got it. There we go.
Okay, got
Doing
it.
good, getting ready for pumpkin decorating. So
I wondered about that.
get some candy bags together. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what goes with that.
So we're live now on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Yes, we
Hey.
are. Hey, we are broadcasting live on the Cooperative Extension's YouTube page. North Carolina Cooperative Extension, Pitt County Center. And we're going to go ahead and I would like to go ahead and record this just for my benefit in pulling our notes together, if everybody's okay with that. Any objections?
Nope.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so I see Andy and Joni and Loretta. Hey. Hey, Andy. What is everybody joining us on? Loretta, are you on a phone or computer?
Computer.
Okay, can you turn your screen on so we can see you? There you are. Well, that's not you. That's Andy. Okay.
That's Andy. Yeah.
Right. Joni,
I don't know
how about you, Joni?
Here we go.
There you go. Okay, super. So we're just waiting for Mary and for Jean. While we're waiting on them, is there anything that you all need to add to the agenda? And do you need me to send you the agenda in the chat? Andy speakers.
I printed mine.
Okay.
I've
So,
got mine printed also.
Andy, you can't hear us? Andy, wave your hands if you can hear us. No. Okay. I'm just typing to Andy real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the chat up. Oh, goodness. He's so funny. Oh, goodness, sign language. What a character.
Okay. Okay. Give them a couple more minutes.
Yeah, Jean's working on hers right now.
And I know Mary Mary was in Kansas City with her son and I believe was headed home yesterday. So I thought she is anticipated to be here tonight. I've got a gnat in here. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing things. It's really there.
Yeah, I got gnats and mice and all that all over the place.
Have you found any more mice, Loretta?
No, I just have poop all over the desk.
Ugh. Well, Buildings and Grounds will send some more traps if you want that.
Right. I've still got some.
Okay.
So I've got peanut butter to put on them.
Okay.
See if we can catch them. Probably need to have something put on the bottom of that door so they can't get in and out.
Yeah, that
would really
pretty
help.
that did me in the times I was there and there was droppings all over the desk. That
I know. They're all over.
yeah.
It's frustrating. Of course, they don't come in when you're in here. They
Sure.
come in when it's peaceful and quiet.
Okay. And can you tell that Jean is trying to get on? I can't.
She texted me.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent her a text. She said, working on my Zoom.
Okay.
So hopefully she'll be able to sneak on.
There she is.
Yay.
Are you good, Jean? We can't hear you. Okay. Jean, can you hear us? If so, wave at me. Okay, okay. All right, good.
I don't even see her on my screen.
I can see her.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. It's 5 after 6 o'clock, and hopefully Mary Hardy will join us. I sent to you this morning an agenda for today, and at the bottom were the 2 lines of minutes from our last meeting. We met July 13th, and Jean, Loretta, and I were the only ones that were able to make that meeting. So we did not handle any business that day. And this agenda is basically that agenda for July plus a couple of things. So any questions about the minutes? If not, we'll move forward.
Nope.
Good.
Okay, well, let's start with a report from Loretta.
Okie dokie. We have started on the Great Pumpkin Decorating Contest. I'm still waiting on Bridget to get me the decorated sheet, and I asked her to send it out with the weekly newsletter. Now, I don't think the weekly newsletter has been going out. I have not received them on my personal,
Okay.
but we're getting a little bit deep into the season. It's already the 12th, and people have to pick up their pumpkins the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So that's only going to give them a week and a half. So I'm not sure if we're going to even have any participation.
Tell me what you said, a decoration sheet? What, or is that just
this sheet?
Oh, with the instructions.
With the instructions, yeah. She usually puts some cute little clip art on it from Canva and then sends it out with the weekly newsletter so people remember about it. And so I haven't seen it come through on
Okay.
my email, my personal email, because I have that. We've got quite a few different email addresses that we have collected when we were doing the tote bag giveaway.
Okay.
So people knew about it last year because it went out the very beginning of October. So it hasn't gone out yet. So I'm not sure what kind of participation we're going to get.
Okay, I'm going to mark that, Loretta, and I will follow up with her by email tomorrow.
Okay, thank
'cause
you.
I'll be out of town at a meeting, so I'll email with her.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, very good. Biden, it looks like Dan has tracked down who they ordered the bags through last year and the year before. So I'm crossing my fingers that he's going to be able to, pull it through. So we'll have more tote bags. So I should know that within the next, hopefully, week or so. The applications that I have been sending out to the board,
Mhm.
it's just been really slow getting approvals. Joni and Jean are the only two that get back to me. So sometimes I just have to break the tie. We had two new vendors this week, Eva and Clay. So
What's different?
that was good. But other than that, I just need to get these certifications back.
Loretta, can you
More
stop just a second? Okay, Andy,
Yeah.
where can you hear us?
I can't hear y'all at all.
Okay, I can hear you.
You can
What-
hear me. My speaker is not working. There's a block. And it says, please check your connection or use a different speaker. So I clicked on troubleshoot. It said I had a bad connection with my computer, but I haven't had this problem before.
Okay, if you can mute your computer,
Mute my computer.
yes, down on the far left,
Where it says audio.
yes.
It won't let me mute it.
Okay, I'm going to mute you then.
Okay.
I have muted you.
Maybe, okay, but maybe I can hear y'all now because I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay, so let's try this now. Okay, Loretta, can you talk to us now?
Yeah, then you want me to start over? Did Andy hear anything?
You didn't. How about you start over? And Andy, if you can give me a thumbs up in the chat box, if you can hear Loretta.
I can only hear over the telephone.
Okay, that's all right.
So I'll just leave the phone on.
Sounds good. Okay, hit it, Loretta.
Okay, so pumpkin decorating, we have started. I've got 15 pumpkins. I'm waiting on Bridget to get the decorated sheet back to me and send it out in the weekly newsletters. And that's how we found everybody last year. They got the weekly newsletter and then they had the decorating contest sheet attached to that newsletter. So we may be a little late on that, but Lee, you said you'd follow up, so that would be very helpful. Biden looks like they're going to come through with more tote bags. I should know a little bit later this week. I talked to Daniel last week and he knows now, I believe he knows where they got them. So I will follow up with that. The certificates, the craft vendor, food vendor, things like that, I'm sending them out to everybody with pictures, but I'm not getting a good response back. I really need those as soon as possible. Jean and Joni get back to me immediately, but I break the tie if I don't hear from anybody. So
Loretta, is it possible to take those around to the advisory members on a Saturday when they're there to get their vote?
Well, if I want to print them.
Well, we may have to do that. Or take your laptop to each person and show them those. I don't know how else to do it.
I know, because we really need responses coming back as soon as possible.
Okay.
So two new vendors started this weekend, Ava and Clay. with his. Now, I did not realize Clay was going to do eggs this weekend. So I will get him the correct paperwork for the EBT.
Great.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad he is, because we've got a few people getting out of eggs.
What else you got for us?
Let's see, EBT, it's been going great. How did the $5 tokens work out this weekend?
I
Did
think
it make
they
it a
were,
lot easier? Good,
I think so.
good. Thank you for that. I think that will take a lot of pressure off not having enough tokens. So that is wonderful.
Do we have any sense where those tokens are? The
The
$1.
ones that
Mm-hmm.
The $1 ones, no, people just are keeping them and they'll come back and spend them.
Okay. Okay.
So they've been told just, hey, you don't have to spend them if you don't want to,
Right.
which, you know, that's good in one sense if they come back each week or every 2 weeks, but not always do they. So that's what leaves us so short. But now that we've got the fives, we're good. And you took quite a few singles in this weekend too, because I was down to maybe 20 at
Mhm.
most of the $1 ones. So they were coming back and bringing them back in, which was nice. So I think that is about it.
Okay. Advisory members, what types, well, first, do you have any questions for Larita?
Not me.
None from Andy. Jean? Jean, you're on mute. If you can unmute yourself.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Here you are.
here I are.
Yay.
No, I have no questions for Loretta.
Joni, how about you? Any questions?
I do. Loretta, what is the status on the tote bags currently? I know you were
Status
talking
on the
about.
tote bags is he could not find out where. Everybody has either retired or left the hospital.
Uh-huh.
So he was not able to track down where they ordered them. So when I talked to him, I said, well, you may want to check with the people who run the specialty store. I said, because I believe that one of the girls had mentioned to me that that is who she was going to order them through. I think maybe they sell them in the little specialty shop. So he called me and said, well, I may have to give you a $1,500 check. And I'm like, no, that we really would prefer if you could track them down, just talk to the specialty store and see. I don't feel comfortable taking a $1,500 check from the hospital when we're Pitt County government. I just have an issue with it. But for them to donate the bags, I think is really a nice thing with their logo on it. So right at this point, I talked to him and he said, well, I think I may have tracked it down and I will call him on Thursday just to double check and make sure, because he did not realize that they had ordered them through the little specialty store at the hospital.
But how many do you have right now that are left over?
Maybe 10. And then I've got some
really?
of Ainsley's lamb bags. Yeah.
Well, that's right, because we used those one time before when we were
When
running.
we ran out. Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know how many you had currently.
Yeah, I've got about 10.
Okay.
About
okay,
10,
good
but
job.
I do have vendors who come in and say, hey, you got any bags? So of course I'm
Right,
gonna
right,
have to give
okay.
the bags to the customers.
Good enough.
So, yeah.
Anything else for Larita?
I have to turn that off.
Okay, so let's go round robin with the advisory members. Joni, since you were last up, any kind of reports you have for us in terms of experience with the market in the community, questions from vendors or customers?
No, ma'am, I'm just trying to keep up with what's going on.
Okay. Who was next? Jean, what kind of things do you need to share with us that you've gotten as an advisory member?
Nothing at this point, but one thing I want to bring up is we have someone coming in as a customer, and it's a she. She's been going to like Andy's booth. Andy knows what I'm talking about. What did you call her, Andy, on Saturday? The one that likes to try and steal things from you?
Yeah,
Andy said Sarah?
yeah. I don't remember her real last name. We have a nickname for her out here at the Blueberry Field.
But she goes to Andy's booth and she also goes to Cassandra's booth. And she's always trying to Jew them down on price. And then when she does buy something, she'll go and she'll add more things into the bag after she purchased it, and then she walks away. So in my view book, that's called theft.
Yeah.
And this has been going on just this season, or has it happened before?
Well, for at least a month.
Okay.
Wow.
And we brought it to Cassandra's attention, and she's been watching her.
Does she come in during the heat of the market, or is this somebody that comes in late, or?
She usually comes on, I would say, between 9 and 10.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I don't know if anybody else has had that problem, same problem with her. I don't know if John has experienced it, John Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Andy was talking about it Saturday, and I know Cassandra has had problems with her too.
Okay. So what do you propose would be a good way to handle this?
I'm not sure. I don't know if we should possibly have a deputy there during that hour frame. And if the vendor sees it happening, can they flag that person down, the deputy, and have him chat with her?
I don't know. Do you feel like it warrants having a deputy there, or is that something that we need? I'm not sure who you're talking about, so I
need to know who it is also.
I would think we'd want to make sure Loretta knows who it is, and before we
She
go.
comes in almost every Saturday, and we can point her out.
Yeah, that would be great.
You know her when she's in there because she wears a habib on her head. You know, it's like those. She's from Middle Eastern.
Huh.
And she wears, we call it, and I know we shouldn't call it this, but we call it a rag.
Okay.
She wears it all around her head and around her neck and stuff. And she's always,
Hijab.
who?
What is it?
A
I'm
hijab.
not sure.
That's what it. If that's what you're talking about, is the traditional Muslim headdress for women.
Yes.
So it covers her head and her neck.
Yes.
Okay.
And she wears a long dress.
Okay.
But I know Cassandra's had issues with her, and I think Andy has also.
Okay. So I'm getting feedback from somebody. If you're not talking, if you're on mute, then we won't have the reverb. There you go. Whoever fixed that. I would suggest making sure Loretta knows who this person is and just observe her. This may be a cultural thing that is different for us than it is for her. So I'd try to give her the benefit of the doubt first, and it may be that we just need to speak to her and, you know, kind of investigate what's going on. If this is a person who is hungry, if this is a person who culturally doesn't understand how this transaction is taking place, because bartering with vendors to get the price down is a very traditional market tactic in other parts of the world where it's not here. So I think we need to observe her a little bit more and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation.
Did you hear that, Loretta?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lee, did Lieutenant German come over on Saturday?
I did not see anyone from the
You
sheriff's.
didn't see her.
I didn't see anybody.
Yes, the deputy
Did the dog come
with
over?
a tall woman.
Yes, tall, big. She had her sheriff's outfit on. She
Yes,
had
she
her
did.
uniform.
There.
She
She was
did?
there.
Okay, because I had asked her if she could come over, and I asked her if they could also bring the dog over, the therapy dog over also. Just to, because they were handing things out, and she apologized. She's like, I am so sorry, I can't always have someone here. It just is not physically possible. Well, they're dealing with the same thing. They do not have enough coverage, enough manpower to come over every single week. I think we can, if we work together, I think we can combat it together. If something goes down that we cannot, then I've got their phone number and I can call 911 and they'll go ahead and direct me to the sheriff's department. So,
Okay.
but I'd like to know, I'm very curious as to who she is. She's not the one with the 2 children, is she? Is she the heavy set
No,
older?
she has no children.
I'm sorry,
No children.
heavy set older?
No, she has no children.
Okay, but is she heavy set older lady? I may know
I'm
who
sorry,
you're
I didn't-
talking about.
Loretta.
Well, let's make sure that she's on
Yeah.
Loretta's radar for Saturday. And again, you want to try to give folks the benefit of the doubt and start at the lowest level of investigation instead of, because we want to make sure it continues to be a welcoming place.
Absolutely.
So. And Loretta, I would caution bringing the therapy dog, even if they're with the sheriff, because that's going to again open that conversation about dogs at the market. If the sheriff can bring a dog, why can't I bring a dog?
Well, it's a working therapeutic,
Well,
but
I wouldn't encourage them to bring it. If they have it with them when they come, that's one thing, but I don't think I'd say, hey, you should.
well, no. This man, that's all he does.
Yeah.
And he was across the street and I asked Miss German, because they were handing stuff out to kids. The kids were just having a blast. So, I mean, it's not like they're going to bring him every week. It was just something that was very special for the children across the street that they enjoyed. So, but Miss German was with them. So at that point, I don't even know. He's like, I am so busy, I can't even get out of here. I said, that's fine, but she was going to come over and hand some things out to the children.
Okay.
So you did see her, Jean?
Pardon?
You did see Lieutenant German, big, tall?
Yeah, she was
Good.
handing out
Good.
pens.
Good. Okay. Very good. She told me she would come over. So.
Okay. All right. Andy,
Yes,
what kind of comments do you have to share as an advisory member?
I'm just really pleased with the way the market's gone this year. Thanks to everyone that's made it happen. It's been a lot of new customers coming out there, and they don't always come back, but a lot of the new customers do come back, and I think that's good. And I'm real happy with the volume of people that we've had to visit us. My continuing concern and comment would be, it would be nice if we could have more local producers, but I don't really know how to go about doing that.
Well, Andy, I understand that concern. I would be curious, Loretta, if you could pull up how many new fruit and vegetable, how many new producers we've gotten this year. I know Terry Snowden is new.
Terry Snowden, yeah. And of course, now Olivia, she grows and then she comes as everything comes into season. So she's not here every week. She's not here every other week. She's just here when she has her product. I've had a lady call me about possibly next year doing just flowers. So that would be fabulous. But Terry Snowden really is the only other grower who has stuck with us like glue, which has been really, really nice.
We did have the young meat vendor that came once and sold out of product. And
Yeah, Brad.
Oh gosh, the other guy in Hobgood, David Mayer.
David Mayer, yeah. I called them one Saturday and she's like, oh no, we're out of corn.
Yeah.
So they were more curious about the hemp because of their grandson.
Yeah.
So that could, if we go over the discussion on hemp products, that could, lead into another vendor who is growing, which would be nice. I did hear from the Billy's House of Nuts, and they were planning on coming back, but I have not heard anything from him. He said that the pecans were just starting to come in, and that was 2 weeks ago. So they potentially could come in also. I can email him on Thursday and see for sure. But he said he would get up with me when they were ready to come back.
Andy, I do know that Clay King, who is the new vendor with soy candles and eggs, he is working on building an orchard and production. So I think that's a positive sign if we can keep him as a vendor to help build out his farm. The thing that I've noticed in the last 2-3 months is we've had 2 families who I think know each other, who have come, I think, as part of a homeschool concept and wanted to sell eggs. One wanted to sell microgreens, and we let them come do it. And they lasted about 2 hours. I think they had the children with them, and they didn't stay. That was Anthony Sawyer, Larita, and
Now, was he
Stewart?
Okay, so he and Mandy are the same. Okay, so I called him to see if he would be back the following week, and he's like, no. He said, we've got soccer, and we're just going to have to look at coming back after soccer season is over. He said it was just too difficult. We had to leave after a few hours, take the kids over to soccer. So he said they will think about coming back, but right at this point until soccer ends, that it's a no-go.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else, Andy?
Nope.
Okay. So I've got a list of things that I wanted to go over with everybody and get some feedback on. So if you need to have questions, stop me or wave at me, type it in the chat, and I'll be looking for those. The first one is a discussion on hemp products. So this was on the agenda in July. David Mayer came from Hobgood, and he was in the new building and brought fresh corn, which was incredible. I mean, it was picked that morning, kind of fresh. And I think he had a couple of other, handful of this, handful of that. He is a farmer in Hobgood. He has Hobgood hemp and has a little store in Hobgood where they sell some of their products. I told David that at the time we did not have a category that he fit in, because the hemp products that he had were oils and tinctures. And it really didn't fit anything that we currently had. I also talked with the county manager. He was fine with adding them as long as they were legal, and that certainly was the case. So I wanted to ask you all what you thought about it, if you felt like that was something that would fit at the market. Let me also tell you this. We had a vendor 2 weeks before David Mayer who approached us about selling hemp. And just like I do with anybody that I get a vendor certificate for, I looked to try to confirm their status as a farmer, to locate their farm number. And this gentleman, I could not find the things that I typically am looking for. He was very rude and offensive and ugly with me because he was mad that I had questioned anything. That was why it came on our radar. He was out of Cabarrus County, is where his website said he was from, but he didn't live there. He now lived in Beaufort County, I think. When I tracked the name, it actually, through North Carolina Hemp, was registered to somebody in Wilmington. So there were just lots of things that didn't connect for me. And when I asked him to provide a farm number, he never followed up on that. So that was the first time it came up. And then the second time with David, and I was able to, go back and trace like I did with the other guy, and all of his things lined up. So would be curious what everyone thought about that.
Well, I think you did well to question the man, and if he was rude, it's not the kind of vendor we want. The way I feel about it,
Yeah.
if I don't really know anything about hemp, but if you got a farmer that's producing it, that's okay with me. But I don't think we should invite people that sell products that are produced, off their facility or whatever.
Okay. Joni, any thoughts on this?
Well, I agree that it seems like there were a lot of red flags that came up concerning this person. So it sounds like you used your best judgment with this issue. And as far as the hemp goes, I mean, if they have everything in order, I don't see a problem with it.
Okay. Jean, any thoughts?
I'd like to know what type of products he was trying to sell. Was it like,
David?
was it salve or oils?
Let me see if I can, I've got his card right here. Let me see if I can do the code real quick and tell you. Let's see. David has a sharp looking website. I'm going to read down his list of categories. Gummy products, oils and tinctures, topicals, pet products, merchandise, and healthy hemp foods.
I would balk at the merchandise.
Okay.
Because we have been kind of critical about some craft vendors who were selling things they didn't actually make.
Okay. And these, I forgot, I looked at where they were packaged. have to go back and look for that. Jean, any other thoughts?
No,
Okay. Okay. And let me share this with you as well. One of the things that the man was arguing about and, giving me an earful about was that nobody else, all these other markets would accept his product. That was basically it. And I would just tell you as advisory members that there are plenty of markets in our area who are not looking at the things that we look at, like following the food safety code. I have been to several recently where there were people that we had questioned the food safety of or the processes, and they are at different markets within our region. So just because somebody says another market allows it, that's great. Go to that market because that's not what we're going to accept. So just keep that in mind. In fact, the hemp guy that was so angry with me, a vendor that we currently have had been at a market with him and said, "Oh, you should come to our market." And so he was exceptionally mad because he'd been encouraged to come, and then I shut him down. So, okay, well, we can pursue that then with talking to David. I wanted to follow back up on the EBT and SNAP procedures. So we do have the $1 tokens and the $5 tokens. And I think Loretta has tried to figure out how, before we got the $5 tokens, trying to figure out how to make this a little bit easier because there were plenty of days that we ran out of tokens and had to go get them back. The way our procedure is set up is people using EBT do not have to tell us who they're shopping with. And it's a matter of privacy and dignity for folks that are using food assistance, just like you nor I would probably want to have to tell a stranger who we were shopping with. It's not relevant. So I don't want us to be using lists. And when I was covering the office, I had several people who came in and said, I need $18 to pay so-and-so. And I was like, I don't care who you're paying. I'll be glad to give you 18. It's not, you don't need to tell me. So that's one of the things with that is we want to preserve that person's privacy as much as possible. Kind of jumping down the agenda. I have been able to secure us a way to do double bucks. This is through a grant through RAFI, which would allow us to give to double whatever a SNAP or a WIC vendor, WIC customer used. So I've still got to get the stuff set up in the finance office for this and get the contract through the county system, and that may take a month before it goes through and is approved by the commissioners. Does anybody have questions about how double bucks would work?
I do.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
I mean, could you just explain to me how they work?
So this is grant money that will come into Pitt County government. So, for example, RAFI may send us $1,000. It will go into an account with the county government. And then as Loretta is working EBT or WIC any day, if I came in as a customer and I swiped my card and bought $18 worth of tokens, she would give me an additional $18 of tokens. And she would record that on a spreadsheet that would say, you know, $18 for SNAP, and then in a different column, $18 bonus bucks.
Okay.
So when Loretta and I submit that to the finance department to pay out a farmer, so if Andy or Jean turned in their tokens, what we would send in to them would be $18 EBT, $18 bonus bucks. So the finance department would know one set of money comes from the EBT receipts and one comes from this pot of money that they are trustees for.
Oh, okay.
Here's the other thing I would say, and I'm not always sure how many folks are participating in EBT. There were Thursdays and Fridays in the last 2 months to six weeks that I worked that we had $700 in WIC or SNAP benefits turned in. And that might be 2 days in a row. On Saturday, I think I sold $283 worth of EBT tokens just on Saturday. So I feel like we need to encourage our vendors, our food vendors, to take these. If I know I've talked to at least one vendor who didn't want to do it, and I don't know the reason why, but I want to make sure those vendors understand that they are missing out on now double what they could get if they would, you know, be interested in participating. And it really is filling out a form and supplying a social security or a tax ID number to the county so that they can set you up as a vendor in their finance system. Does that help answer your question, Joni?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions about bonus bucks or EBT? Is everybody good with doing the bonus bucks? Do we take WIC cards? No, we still don't take WIC cards, which is frustrating. Right now, we just take the WIC farmers market coupons, and those are for women, infants, and children, and for seniors.
But we can't double those.
We actually
Can
can't.
we on our sheet?
Yes.
Are we good for that? Okay, good.
We can do that. That is my understanding.
Okay.
Once we get all the stuff signed and in play.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But the regular WIC benefit for women, infants, and children comes on a debit card.
Yeah.
And we can't take those. It's a different system. It's kind of crazy.
Can we apply for it?
I can ask Rafi if there is, what the status of that is.
Okay. Okay.
That's my
Because I've
understanding.
had people hand them to me and I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I talked to our WIC folks here and they said no. It's
Okay.
still,
All right. All right.
Okay. Improving communication. So Loretta and I had talked about this earlier this year about trying to send out some regular communication on a printed sheet with everybody's envelope. I don't know if you all have any other suggestions on how to communicate with vendors. We know that they don't all read email. They don't all have the capacity to receive email. Everybody's not a Facebook person, but if you have any suggestions, would love to hear it. With our current mail service, I don't know that that's a timely way to get stuff out that needs immediate attention. Any thoughts on communications?
What's an example of something that we would need to communicate?
The $5 tokens would be an example.
Okay.
We need Loretta to send out a message on all the envelopes.
All right.
That we now have $5 tokens. They look the same except for they have a 5 in red. I went through and told the food vendors that I saw, but that's the kind of thing that we would need to get out quickly. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving weekend. So Thanksgiving weekend at our vendors meeting, we voted to be open for Small Business Saturday. What we have determined in the last couple of months is that Loretta is not going to be here, nor am I. So we don't have staff to run the farmers market for that day. So we are not going to be open that weekend. That's something that we need to communicate to vendors. The bonus bucks would be something that we would want to communicate to vendors.
Do we have a copy machine in the office?
We do.
Well, it seems like there could be just a one-page blurb with, bullet
Mm-hmm.
things that are important like this.
We could.
Stick them right in the envelope or put them on the front of the envelope with a paper clip.
And I think that's what Loretta's been doing, is just clipping it to the front.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. So I think, and again, this was in July. I think we've kind of handled that. So the next item is filling vacancies on advisory. So just to kind of remind you, the advisory members serve a 3-year term. They have to be Pitt County residents. They have to fill out the form that the county uses for all boards and commissions, saying that they are willing to serve. And then they have to be appointed by the county commissioners. And in our guidelines for the farmers market, the typical procedure is that we take, and I'll read it to you. For the policy committee, and this is on the 3rd page of our constitution and bylaws, 5 members, 3 are active market farmers, 2 are members at large. Terms shall be for 3 years. Members of the committee shall be appointed by the commissioners. Full membership may vote by ballot at its annual meeting to recommend the members to be appointed by the board. And that is what we did at our last meeting. And that was when Mary was appointed to the board. In the event, and that was Pat Townsend was the person that came off at that point because she requested to. So in the event that a vacancy should occur in one of these positions, a replacement shall be appointed by the county commissioners upon the recommendation of the policy committee to serve out the remainder of said term. So that is what has happened now. Andy Jansen has stopped coming to the market. He had stopped attending meetings, and we had a very difficult time, for whatever reason, getting him to our advisory meetings. So as is done, the clerk to the board checks attendance. And when I submitted that attendance, his name was flagged, and they said, okay, we need to send him a letter asking him if he is intending to continue to serve and attend, that he's violated the attendance rules. And he did not respond to that. So he's been moved off, and we need to make a recommendation for someone to fill that spot. And he was filling one of the farmers' spots. So probably what would be helpful at this time is to look at which of our vendors are farmers. And in order to be considered a member, you have to have been at the market for over a year. So we have The Haddocks. We have Bobby Yates. I'm just kind of going down the street here. The Haddocks, Bobby Yates. Terry Snowden has not been with us a year yet, has he, Loretta?
No,
No.
Okay. Wendy Stallings.
she's been here a year.
She's been here a year. I think that's everybody on that side. Coming back down the other side, you have Ainsley is in Craven County. You have Philip Guy, who has the vineyard in Pitt. You have Andy. You have Cassandra, who's in Beaufort County, and Jean, Bill Burke, who is in Pitt, and Romeo is in Wayne County. So just off the top of my head, those are the people that are bringing fresh produce, meats. Those are the people that come to my mind. Have I missed anybody?
I can't think of anyone.
Okay. I don't know what your pleasure is. I would tell you, I'm not going to vote on this. That's not my role, but I will tell you that Philip Guy has talked to me several times about marketing ideas. He has worked in the food industry for a long time. And I think could have, he would be a new voice on that advisory board and could bring some skill sets that some of us don't have. So that is a possibility, and I wanted just to share that with you because I've learned that about him over the past year. So I don't know what your pleasure is, and so this is Andy, Joni, and Jean that would have to make that decision. Mary, and she's not here tonight. Do you all have a suggestion, or would you like to put your heads together and on Saturday you could give us a suggestion?
Well, I would vote for anybody that could show up and participate.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I agree also. Somebody that truly has an interest.
Okay. Well, those are the people that I'm aware of that are bringing fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, proteins to the market that they have grown. And I'm sure that Loretta could print you a list if you need to see one and think about it. You've got, I would love for us to have somebody on board and not have to go all the way to March without that person in case we need them.
Have you spoken to Mr. Guy?
I have talked to him. And
he's willing?
I think he would be willing to do it. But I can certainly talk to some other people if you think that's what you would like to do, or you all can talk to people. That would be the most impactful if you all talked to some folks and saw if they were willing.
Well, I think we ought to ask all of those people if they're willing.
Okay.
And ones that say yes, vote on them.
Okay.
That's not a bad idea.
That's a great idea. So how are you all going to do that?
I'll be willing to walk up to each one of them and tell them our dilemma and what we need to do as quickly as possible and see what they say, and then just report that to Loretta.
Andy, that would be great. That would be great.
Talk to them this Saturday if they're there.
Jean, would you have the time on Saturday to follow up after Andy and ask them if they have any questions that you're also in advisory?
I can try and do that.
Okay.
Lee, I have a question.
Ma'am?
How does that term, how will Andy Jansen's term play out as far as putting a new person in there? Will that end when his term is supposed to end?
That's my understanding, yes. And I don't, let's see if I have that somewhere. Let me see if I've got that most recent. I know I've pulled it recently and looked at it, but I don't remember what I did with it.
I believe he came on board at the same time Jean and I did.
I think he may have.
Andy did, yes.
I think so, yes.
I can look, but I'm afraid I will lose you all.
That's fine, that's fine. I'm almost certain he did.
Okay, he may have. And I think Andy McLaughlin his term expired. So just so you know it is customary in these committees and boards across the board that if someone's serving's time expires and they are eligible to serve an additional term, they are asked if they are willing. And so that was what happened with Andy McLaughlin, and that's why he was reappointed to the board by the commissioners. That's a very customary standard way that all happens.
Okay.
But Jean and Andy, I think that would be very appropriate. Loretta could go afterwards and ask if there are any questions. But if everybody could talk to folks and see if they would be interested. Again, they have to live in the county.
Give me those 4 names again, or 5.
So, Nita Haddock.
Well, how about her grandchildren or whatever?
One of her
Is
kids.
there an age limit?
I would
be a certain age.
I would think they would need to be 18, but I don't know.
Okay, well, just go ahead with the list. 1.
So the Haddocks, Wendy Stalling,
Okay. 2.
Philip Guy,
Philip Guy.
Bill Burke,
Bill Burke. How do you spell Burke? B-U-R-K-E.
and Bobby Yates.
All right, I've got it.
He was already on the board. Can he go back on?
Who? Bobby?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he can. I'd have to go back and look.
How about Wilbert?
He is in Martin County.
Okay, I didn't know that. Philip Guy. I'll also ask them if they weren't willing to serve right away, if they would in the future.
Okay, that'd be great, Andy.
Okay.
That'd be great. And if they are, we'll send them the form that they need to fill out to indicate interest. And that's a requirement the commissioners have. And
Well, I'll take this information to Laredo
super.
and make sure she gets it to you.
Super. And really, you all are the ones that vote on it. So if you can pull Mary in, and if
Yeah, I will. I'll be
Yeah.
sure to do that.
yeah, just let us know. And then once that's done and they've completed the application, then we can send it up. And that's something that I have to do from my end, is send that name forward.
I understand, and I will try to get this
Awesome.
done as soon as possible.
That'll be great. Thank you. Okay. So I had market hours and duties and impacts of volunteers. So one of the things that that Loretta and I've talked about is where her time gets spent. And sometimes it's spent and sometimes it's eaten alive. There are things that the market manager needs to be doing that there are volunteers that could do. And I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. A couple of things that have come to my mind would be to have and it doesn't, sometimes it's a vendor, sometimes it's somebody else. But we could look at developing a volunteer program with someone who put out the signs and brought those signs in. In a previous market I served, one of the vendors put them on the, put them out as he drove into town, and he picked them up as he went out. In other places, it could just be a dedicated volunteer that does it. Maybe a rotation of volunteers. But that's something that, in my experience, takes a good 30, 40 minutes sometimes to accomplish, depending on what the traffic's like. What's your thought on that, Loretta?
As long as they're put out, I'll have to go with them the first time or whatever to put them out, because they need to be located where I put them.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can take 45 minutes to pick them up after you're done working. I know Ainsley and Patty put them out, golly, one weekend when I was not here, and Ainsley put them out in the morning, and then Patty picked them up, and Ainsley's like, I cannot do that every weekend. He said I did.
Yeah.
So, and Patty agreed. But even if it was just rotated, that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Could do a rotation, but it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time.
Yeah, so that's
hard to find a commitment.
That's one option that somebody could do, even if it was a few of them, could be a potential help. Another place that volunteers could help would be in managing the EBT machine. Of course, we'd have to have somebody trained, but it's easy to do. But having someone be that person that's with it. And so you don't have to go find Loretta or myself to run it, that person, even if it's a couple of hours on a Saturday, that would certainly be helpful to encourage and welcome people to use that. And there may be other things to help with a children's event. Several markets I know of have kind of a market ambassador who does a lot of what I do when I'm there, walking through and talking to people. Is this your first time? How'd you find out about us? What are you looking for? Just some of those simple things that could be very welcoming. So what are your thoughts on some potential volunteer roles?
Well, I think the tote bag program was a great program.
Yes, it was.
And I would like to see that come back one day.
Okay. And you did a great job
I
implementing.
enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed that.
You were there every Saturday, weren't you?
Every Saturday.
Well, and you were very powerful in that role. That has been a great PR piece. And I think you did a lot of that greeting as well. Just,
It did fall hand in hand with that. But I would like it if we could keep that.
Okay. Anybody else have thoughts or comments?
Well, I was thinking what Joni was doing, she was almost like the market ambassador when she was in that capacity.
Yeah, she sure was.
Okay.
Well, don't you folks count me out. This is just kind of a season that I'm having to lay low for a bit. So.
And it's understandable. It's understandable. And Joni, I apologize if me having that on the agenda made you feel at all unwelcome or appreciated.
No, I just didn't know.
I recognized the power of what you had been doing, and we needed more of you. Because if Loretta was trying to manage that with everything else, it's too much. So, okay, we'll be thinking on that, and I'll talk some more to Loretta. It may be, bless her heart, her lights keep going out.
Keep going on. I look like a ghost.
We may find a couple of things and try our hand at just advertising that on Facebook and see if we get some folks that might like to be helpful there. We've already talked about Thanksgiving weekend, that we will not be open. We'll have our regular Thanksgiving as we have in years past. Wanted to remind everybody about the Visit NC Farms app, their phone app. I had the banner up on Saturday. Our market is on that app. Andy, your market is on, Rinston is on there. Just so folks understand how this phone app works. People can search their phone app and find our market if they're looking for a farmer's market in Pitt County, if they're looking for a specific product that we sell. Same thing with Andy's. Andy's farm, I believe, is listed under You Pick because he has You Pick blueberries. The other thing it will do is if we have a special event, we can send a push notification out to people who have downloaded this app and are interested in our area. So that's not something that, it's something we need to use, but it's not something that you would send every week to say, hey, we're open. It's much more of a special event tourist draw. So fresh blueberry season's now open at Rinston Market, or our pumpkin contest or something like that that's really specific. So keep that in mind. I think Bobby Yates bees are on that app. I believe the haddocks are on that. And right now it's only Pitt County. There's a buy-in process for this. So Cooperative Extension, Greenville, Pitt County Tourism, and Pitt Economic Development Commission have worked together along with the Food Council to make this happen. It was about a $3,000 investment every year to make this happen, along with much more to get us started. So all of our counties are not able to put this together. And that's unfortunate because you've got somebody like Noruka or Grape Creek that have farm stays and events, and they're in counties that have not joined yet. So people can find them through our farmers market, but not on this great advertising tool. So keep that in mind. Anybody got questions about Visit NC Farms?
We still don't have our listing up, our buttons.
Let me make sure I know what you're talking about. On our listing, we don't have buttons for products.
Yeah. If you go to Tarboro Market, all those buttons.
Yeah, I'm on it right now.
We were going to have somebody put them on, but they still are not on.
Okay.
And that could really help. I mean, it gives a nice description that people might want to know. I mean, now we've got firewood. That's a huge draw. At least it has been the last few weeks.
Okay.
So I just think if we get our buttons up, we'll be in good shape.
That's a good point. I will contact Caitlin about that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It takes all of us looking at it to make sure those things happen. Okay, the last thing I had on here that I wanted to check in with folks is about prorated membership. And if we're going to do that or if we're not going to do that, and what are the guidelines for it. So Loretta, do you want to talk any bit about what's happening with that right now?
Well, right now, Eva came in and she said, you mean I have to repay in March? I said, no, you can do a $25. If you want to do $25 now, $5 every Saturday, like we did last year, starting like October, looking at it going, that's not really fair to charge them for, you know, the $50, and then they have to turn around and pay it again coming up here in March. So from now until March, $25 would get them through the season until March.
Okay.
And they're $5 Saturdays.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, everybody? Because I think we need to have that somehow codified or clarified, because I did not prorate anybody's stuff. So she paid 25 on Saturday and 2 other vendors paid 50. So that was kind of a problem. So we got to fix that. What are your thoughts on that?
My thought is, as long as space is not an issue, the way that Loretta described it seems fair. But the first time that we have a big surge of craft vendors at Christmas, for example, that could be a problem.
And do I remember last year that for the Christmas or the craft market that we did just a $25 fee, Loretta?
Yeah, the year before. We didn't do it last year.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
So-
that one day.
So where would that cutoff be?
The end of September. The beginning of October would be, the end of September would be the cutoff for the 50, and then October through February, and then they re-up for $50 for the year.
Sounds
And
good.
we kind of need to talk about too, can we put something together that somebody could pay for the full year and not have to worry about the $50 fee, the $5 every Saturday? Can we put something together as a package?
It would simplify your life, wouldn't it?
It would simplify a lot. Now, you can't do it for everybody, obviously, because we're going to have people who are going to come in October, and they're going to have to stick with the, say the $25 and $5 every Saturday. But people we know who are here all year long, like Phil, he may opt to pay for the full year and not have to worry about anything. So their $50 fee would be paid, and then we'd have to look at the $5 Saturdays and come up with something to package that all together. If we could do it and keep it affordable, of course.
Yeah. Okay. What's everybody's thoughts?
Well, I don't understand what's different about the question she just had and what we said. In March, you pay $50 to be a member, and then if you don't start until October, you pay $25.
Andy, I think what she's saying is for you're there year round. Could we set up a way that when you paid your $50, if you chose to, you could also pay for all the weeks? And maybe there was a discount. So
I got you.
52 weeks, we're not open 52, but just a rough number would be $260 for a year plus your $50 membership. So it would be $310. But maybe you do a discount, so it's only $300.
So this is to avoid the $5 Saturday.
It would end that. It would simplify that.
Okay. Well, I would vote for that. I don't know how many other people might, if that would be an issue, but that sounds good to me.
Jean, what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking about that.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Because
some people, it'd be easier just to do it, keep it the same way, so because they can't come up with a lot of money. So, but for people who would be interested in it, I think it would be a nice option to be able to package together for them.
The other problem is we had already talked about communicating with the packet.
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays. So this might be something we need to think about for a week or so and get back.
Well, we can meet on it. It wouldn't need to be done, or we wouldn't need to get everything situated until March. But at least in March, we could give them another option if they wanted to take it. Nobody might take it, but then again, somebody may.
Okay.
If they get
well,
a discount for the year.
Yeah.
So we can think about it, and if we choose to, we could poll vendors to see how many people might be interested. Maybe not propose any dollar amount, but
Yeah, just pinpoint we need to pinpoint a price to see what's fair
okay.
to discount that too.
All right. We'll work on trying to put something together.
Maybe by December.
Yeah. Okay. So those were all the things that I had that had come up that I wanted to kind of share with you all and get your thoughts on. So, what other business do we have?
Are we having the craft fair this year, Loretta?
What's your feeling?
Nothing's been talked about, so I don't know. That's why I'm asking, are we thinking
Yeah,
about
because
it?
that was one of the things we were going to talk about in July. What does everybody feel?
When did you do it the last time we did it? What was the date?
The 20-something of November. It was more towards the end of the month.
So it was before Thanksgiving.
Here, let me look at the
I thought
sign.
it was after. I thought we did it like the second Saturday in December.
How was it? What was the success of it?
I think you brought in extra dollars because you had to pay to be part of it.
And that Saturday was a very busy day.
It was a busy day.
The last one was November 23rd. The year before last.
Okay, so that's probably the Saturday before Thanksgiving is my guess.
Correct, yeah, which would make it the 20th of November this year or the 4th of December because we're closed the 27th. So
They different from a normal market day.
trying
What was
to
your
think
question,
back.
Andy?
Andy asked, how was the craft day different than any other market day?
You'd have additional vendors there selling their
And
craft.
additional foot traffic.
Yes.
So we invite craftspeople essentially to come that day and
Yes.
sell.
Well, everybody was here, so so customers would come in and still get their produce, but we bumped some other craft vendors into the different areas that we could put them into. And then, of course, we did a lot of advertising on it too. So it did bring more vendors, and it did bring more customers in also.
Would we also have the advisory committee approve those vendors, the crafts they had before they were brought in? Like a regular application?
Probably. I mean, because we don't want a lot of duplicates.
Right.
We want people who are going to be a little bit unique, a little bit different than everything else that we've got. And we did extend the hours to 3. It was like 8 to 3 were the hours instead of closing at 1. So, but right at this point, I think the best thing to do is do either December 4th or the 11th of
So
December.
you'd be gearing towards the last minute shoppers.
Yeah,
11th of December, we're going to have a Christmas sale, advertise and invite other vendors, but we want to preview what they're going to bring in. Is that what I'm hearing?
we can, if you guys don't mind previewing them.
And Joni and Jean, what Andy said was we would invite folks in for the 11th as the craft fair, but we would want to see their items a week before.
I don't know. This is getting kind of close, isn't it? I'm not opposed to the idea, but we're getting close to, we need to go ahead and make a decision so we can do the preparation.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what's on the community calendar for those days either. I don't know when the PCC big Christmas thing is.
That's the 5th, 6th, and 7th, I believe, of November. They kick it
November.
off right at the 1st of November.
I wonder, is this a bad idea if we invited people that weren't members to set up a tent rather than come in the building and then we did not review what they were going to bring? Is that not good?
Well, you're going to open yourself up to people bringing paparazzi jewelry and clothing and, I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but it's not handcrafted. If they're outside, we really would have to rent a decent tent for them to be
I
under.
was thinking more of an individual tent, but that might be a bad idea.
It could be nippy. It could be a little chilly.
And Andy, I think
warm.
that would confuse the picture where we've tried to kind of fine tune what type of crafting we wanted. If you had it open to anybody, I think that would be a really mixed message.
I think you're absolutely right.
I don't think we can have it open just for anyone.
Right, I agree.
We're going to have some type of guideline or something.
Well, if we vote for it, I think that we probably need to do that quickly, and we probably do want to review who's coming in so we don't get 10 of one thing and none of another.
Okay.
Well, we'll probably only have maybe 6 additional spaces. We're not going to have a whole heck of a lot of spaces for people to come in. So it's going to be limited to the space that we've got, and it will not be a 6-foot table. We're looking at either the 4th or the 11th. Do you have any thoughts on that? That's in December.
I wouldn't want to compete with PCCs.
Yeah, well, that's in November. They're coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're talking December.
What if we ask the potential vendors to bring their products on Saturday the 4th so the advisory members can look at them? Because most of us will be there at the market.
Or maybe, do you want the actual item or just the pictures like we normally have, Jean?
Well, we're going to do pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable. Being a vendor all these years, I know how it is to have to pack the car, unload the car, repack the car, unload it again when you get back to the house. So if we can just do the same thing we've been doing now and make a decision that way as to what they will be bringing, I think that'd be a lot easier on not only you guys, but the potential vendor. I would not want to be standing in front of somebody's craft and saying, no, I don't think that fits.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier.
True. That's true.
I mean, it just, to me, it feels insulting. So if we've got, it's easy for me to email people and say, the advisory board feels that we have got this many products of what you would be bringing in. So they have declined it, but maybe next year, we can go ahead and revisit it. So,
I agree with you, Loretta, on that.
so do we want to go ahead and mark down to have the Holiday Magic show then in December?
I would say yes.
Yes, okay. For the 11th or for the 4th?
I would make it the 11th.
Okay, very good.
I vote yes.
Okay.
Okay,
That's a yes for me also.
okey dokey. Very good. And let me throw this out to you too. We had been with 103.7 advertising for the last couple of years. I contacted, let's see here, they did a live remote for us. I'm trying to think of who it was, and they never got back to me. We get a lot of good feedback using 103.7 because it is so local. It's right here in Greenville. But Lee said she'd rather go ahead and go with somebody else.
Well,
Curtis Media Group, and they never got back to me.
okay.
So are
and
there
my
any
point-
other local
my
stations?
Loretta, my point was all of our advertising dollars have gone to that one audience that
Right.
I've never listened to 103.7. Never.
Okay. Well,
So-
Curtis Media didn't get back to me.
Okay.
So do you guys have an idea of another station?
Who does 107.9?
107.9.
WNCC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does that? Is that
107.9. I do not know.
I don't know.
That's WNCT, I think.
Mhm.
They have a radio station?
yeah, they do.
Mhm.
They do.
They have a very loud broadcast area. I mean, wide broadcast area, I think.
Okay. Okay,
don't
I'll
know.
call them
Doesn't
on
matter.
Thursday and investigate.
Lee's right. That you need to spread those dollars around. So, you know, it's public money we're spending.
So I'll call
107.9
WNCT on,
would be a good one, I think,
Okay.
to look at. I mean, I don't know anybody there. If someone knows, you know, a personality, they might be willing to talk about, you know, coming out and do a live broadcast for the Christmas show or something like that. It's part of the deal.
yeah, well, that's what Curtis Media did the year before last. We
Curtis.
had them out for the Easter egg
Yeah.
hunt.
Okay.
And, but then all of the other radio advertising had gone through 103.7. Does anybody listen to 107.9?
I do.
I listen to it occasionally.
And it's
And actually, the station that you said earlier, the other one we've used, the 103.7,
Yeah,
that is a sister station. That's the AM counterpart of 107.9, which is FM.
Oh, really?
I
okay, so
believe
we're still advertising through the
But it's
same,
a-
okay,
but it's a different audience.
Yes.
okay.
That's what I think Andy has a good point that, yeah, you don't want to, it's probably not fair to give all of your dollars to one company. But I was more concerned about making sure we have different audiences.
Okay,
I mean, 107.9 is much more, 70, 80s and 90s and some beach music on the weekends.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the major country radio is here.
I don't know if there is one in Greenville.
Oh, you know there's got to be one.
The Bear.
WRNS.
Yeah. I don't
think
know.
they're interested.
We need to get somebody in here that's better on this subject.
Okay, we'll work on it.
WRNS is country, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We can put Loretta working on that then. All right, everybody, it's 7:30. What other business things do we need to handle? Andy, do you have any more business?
I just need to fix this speaker. For the
Okay. fair enough. Thank you for being willing to fund an alternative way.
Yes, thank y'all for helping us here.
No problem. Joni, any other business?
I'm good. It was just nice connecting with you folks again.
It is good. Jean, how about you?
No, I'm good to rock and roll.
Okay. Miss Loretta, anything else you want to discuss or add?
I think we're good.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think we're ready to roll then. I will try to get these typed up and send them out to you in the next week or two.
Okay.
And thank you all for taking on trying to find a new advisory person for us. That's good.
Hopefully we can.
Go to it. Can't wait to hear from you.
Okay, good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye,
Night.
guys.